Hi, this is the Western Digital MyCloud Mirror unit, first generation. This is a reliable unit for your home network without sharing files in a cloud because it uses the OS 3 firmware and it's kind of old. I used it for a quiet time. And I found one issue with this drive, which I was able to fix. The problem is the time to recognize the hard disk attached with USB jack on the back of the unit. And I wrote the script to be able to recognize the drives attached to the back of the unit with USB SATA adapter to the hard drive, and that script allows me to trigger cron daemon faster in a 5-minute. And the hard drive attached to USB recognizes with shorter periods and without waiting too much. And I will show you how to implement my script to make this Western Digital MyCloud Mirror first generation drive work reliably again. Let's get to it. We have here the MyCloud Mirror connected to the network, and you can see it with the defined by your router IP address, and we are logging in, and we will make some changes in configuration file of the unit. And first of all, we need to be aware of the name of the drive, which will be care about our scripts. The one script of actually executables which will reset the configuration of the devices inside, which is I believe the XHCI USB controller. And what we need is to be aware of the name of the drive, to be aware of the mounted path. First, to enable secure shell, we need to get to the network section of the settings, find the IP address of the unit, write it down, and then enable our secure shell access. We have to enable it and configure the password to be able to access to the secure shell environment. And after defining the secure shell login, we can take a look at the our script, which allows us to reset USB controller and attach our devices, USB devices, to the unit. We have a USB controller ID string, which we sending to unbind every binded devices on USB jack, and we waiting for 5 seconds and then binding again by sending that string, which is that string, to the USB bus PCI drivers path. We need to copy that script into the file with the name, for example, USB mount.shell, and place it in my case in the root directory, and I recommend you to use the dot names with first letter of the name. I mean, you can call it .usb mount.shell, and that name will be resides on the drive and will be not visible to your Windows usual viewing options on user experience, because that dot names usually expects as system files in directories, and it will not be seen and without enabling the system files viewing. This is the first thing we need to do, is to be aware of what is doing that configuration script. The next thing we need to know is what actually triggers this script to be run and executed. Here we see the configuration file, which resides in user local config path of VDMyCloud Mirror Gen 1. And what we actually need to do is to add one string in cron D section, which is this one. String is USB prep. So you actually will need to add name, ID, number, then USB prep, and everything else. Just hold this string here. I actually added it as the last string in the cron D section, but the unit itself and operating system makes changes and places it from last position to the sixth position, and this count number 6 was not modified by me, but installed and changed by the system itself. So the next thing we need to add is the actually USB prep section right here. You can see the actual section of the script we need to add to our config XML file. We will use just a copy paste to add this part to our configuration file. Okay, next thing we need to do is to run PuTTY. We will load exactly configuration with our IP address right here and port, and as well as choose secure shell, and also we define the appearance of the fonts in our configuration to be able to see clearly with the size of the font, and we need to see the text on our screen. Now I am pressing the open button and logging with secure shell D plugin and our password just to get inside. Next thing we need to do is to get to the user local config path and use the vconfig xml command to run the vEditor and to be able to configure our configuration file. We're going down by pressing down button and looking for the cron D section just over here. This is our cron-D section, and what we need to do is just to add one string just over here, USB prep. And we can do it just by pressing button I on your keyboard, and you will be able to add strings to your configuration file, just like this. I will be able to press enter button and add the string from our notepad editor. I'm just copying this kind of amount of information, and I am switching to PuTTY, and I'm pressing on the icon of the program and then going to pass, and we have added the string over here, the name ID with what we needed. What we actually need is to edit this string. For example, you have 10 tasks, you need to add like 12 tasks, and that's it for this part of cron-D. Next thing we need to do is to go down to the actual USB prep position, just over here. As you can see, this is the position we will need to add, for example, just that amount information. And what I will do, I will just go down to the bottom position, then go to notepad and actually copy the amount of information we need to insert. I am copying this amount of information, then going to PuTTY, and what I do, I'm just getting a little bit lower just to let you see what I'm doing. I'm pressing on icon of the PuTTY and selecting paste information. Boom. And that information is pasted, but it is kind of unprepared properly to the unformatted, and I am just deleting with pressing button delete. I'm just deleting the kind of method or adding with tab, and I am formatting the rows of information which needs to be look pretty and nice, just like that. I'm pressing just delete and getting everything clearly defined, and as you can see, with the same amount of sets from the beginning of the left margin. Right here we get to the that position, and we will have only a few more, just like item. Still pressing the delete button and getting item on its place, and then I will have just the end of this section. It will looks like that, USB prep. And yeah, here we have added, as you can see, identical section of USB prep here, and the double here. I probably need to press tab 1 more time here, and now I have the identical two section of the configuration, just like that here. And only one thing we need to edit is the actual path to your drive. This information you can save by pressing escape twice and pressing shift double points, and you can press right quit and press enter. I will not save that information in configuration file because I'm already have a nice working unit, and I will press the quit only, and this kind of command which tells my v-editor do not save any changes and exit without quit without saving information to your configuration config XML file. But you can save it by pressing W and quit. Okay, I will get out, and first I need is to go to change directory mount HD and see what's there by typing ls-l. And we can see that there is the hard disk drive mounted with the name HD8A2. We can change it to HD by pressing tab. And we can ls-l again and see what resides on that attached volume. Here we have the A1 public and many other volumes on that drive, and we need to change directory to A1 to see our actual script. As you can see, we have a few files like config XML and USB mount shell visible, and as you can see, the ownership and the rights of this file are defined as root and just read and write only, or let's say read only for users. My actual .usb mount shell is not visible here, but it is saved in the root of A1 volume, and yeah, you can find it with using some additional command to ls, which will help you to see that that file, save it. But I don't need to see it in the purpose of this video. I can show you just the what's inside of the our USB mount shell. You can see that is a script we actually so in the editor, and yeah, at least we have exact command to edit and install in our configuration file, which we did by changing directory user local config and by typing vconfig XML. Right here I will show you the cron D section, and you will be able to see that this is December, our USB prep string in cron D section, and also USB prep with long mounting part. Over here, the USB prep section, just like that, and it is not doublet, and we didn't save our edition second time in configuration. And what you actually need is to edit that MNT, HD, HDA2, A1, and call that actual string and save it to your configuration file. That path will lead to your USB mount shell script file, which you also need to make executable by using change mod command. I will add to the description of this video how to do that. This is it for the configuring your actual VDMI cloud drive. So first you need to be aware of a drive you are defined as a main share. The second, you need to be aware of the path to the file USB mount shell. Second, you need to copy information inside that file and add a few tabs. One is cron D string, and second is USB prep string over here in your configuration file config XML. That's it for configuring files, and now I can exit my secure shell and reboot your drive by saving and yeah, being able to just like that. We need to log in inside, and you can see our share is available as A1. Also, there is no USB drive found, but I will in a second add my USB drive to this unit, and you will be able to see it in a second, recognize it by this unit, and yeah, you will see that actual script is working, and that added USB drive will be visible right here, and as well as in a public and setup share section. Now as you can see, that is happen quite fast, and you can see that USB drive is already recognized. It's connected with the USB tech, and as you can see, the drive is already recognized and yeah, kind of loading its usage, and everything is defined over here. That's it for today, and you can enable your MyCloud Mirror Gen 1 NAS drive to configure it to quickly recognize the USB drive and quickly let you use those media, and everything is available on the tip of your fingers, just by installing the small script inside of the unit. Now I will actually detach that drive from the and it's slowing down and disconnecting from the NAS over here. It takes a few seconds to get everything available again. I mean the NAS drive, and yeah, it will just in a few seconds. I believe that if I detach and attach that USB drive, it will be available just in a few seconds again, just in the process of our conversation. And you can see that my script is working fine in kind of minutes. So that's it for today. I showed you that everything is working and that script is available on my Patreon page. Please subscribe on my YouTube channel, and you will see more videos of that kind of fixes, and yeah, to be able to implement those changes. As you can see, the drive is already recognized and works again just by waiting a minute in our case. Thank you very much for your attention, and that's it for our conversation. Have a good time, and yeah, thanks for supporting me on YouTube and Patreon page. Have a good day.